Hello, thank you for joining me today. We're going to be making a Hello Fall card, and I know it's probably a little bit early to be making this sort of card, but I felt a breeze and got a little excited. So we're going to start with the Indigo Vine stamp set from Pinkfresh Studio. We're going to be using the regular size Misty, so we're going to put this in at a little bit of an angle so that it fits. And because I plan on doing some ink blending, we are stamping on a smooth white cardstock. In this case, this is Nina Solar White, but anything that is pretty smooth will work just as well. And I'm stamping with Antique Linen regular distress ink. I like using this for any type of outline image that I'm going to be coloring in or stenciling in because it gives me enough of a defined line to make it easy on myself, but it's not so stark, whereas it distracts from the ink blending itself. And now we're going to put away our Misty for the moment and bring out the coordinating stencils that go with the Indigo Vine stamp set. And so as I start ink blending with the first stencil in the set, I did start with old paper distress oxide ink, and the blender brush that I'm using still had some salvaged patina ink on it that I didn't clean off anywhere near well enough, but I did kind of like that combination. So I did pull out another brush that was a little bit cleaner to get more of a true representation of old paper. And then I realized that I did actually kind of really like the combination of salvage patina and old paper. So I brought out that poorly clean brush back in just to use it a little bit more. And now we're going to move on to the next stencil in the set. And one of the enjoyable parts of the Pinkfresh Studio stencils is that the stencils are numbered. So it kind of removes any guesswork as far as the order of the layers. And then to show more of those obviously autumnal colors, we're going to move forward with ripe persimmon and aged mahogany. They'll really start giving us some of those orange and red foliage colors that we traditionally associate with the fall season. And I am sort of just almost randomly picking where I'm going to put the aged mahogany and the ripe persimmon in on the different sections of this stencil layer, just so that there is some variation in tones and color, so it's not all very same throughout all the images. And this is when I'm starting to really like how things are going as far as how the colors are coming together. And so then we pull out one of my favorite colors for the fall season, which is seedless preserves. And around this time of year, I think I am likely to use it in almost every fall themed project, and I don't see that changing anytime soon. And then we have just one more stencil layer to go, and so we're going to use fossilized amber just to get a few of those last details. And once we're done with this layer, we can go ahead and pull off the last stencil and see what the images look like once they're all colored in. And so now that we have those all nicely colored, we can move on and start building the rest of the card. So using the diagonal stitched plaid slimline die, also from Pinkfresh Studios, we're going to die cut our panel out of Nina Desert Storm cardstock. And then using dried marigold distress oxide ink, we're going to make something of an inner rectangle frame on the panel. And once we have a good transition layer, we're going to pull the seedless preserves back out, and then we're going to go along the outside of the panel. And we're going to be pretty heavy-handed here, which is why working on a glass mat or another easily cleanable surface is definitely a plus, because this can get very messy very quickly. And I am using the Nuvo large blending brush to go along the outside. And I do really like these for using on large areas when you don't need to be very precise and you just want to cover a good amount of area in ink fairly quickly. And now we're just going to clean up the worst of it pretty quickly before we move on to the next color so we don't contaminate our ink pads. And so we're going to go back to the aged mahogany, and then we're going to use a small blending brush again just to darken up the very edges of this panel. And once the inking is all done, we will do another quick cleanup, and then we can start working on building out our sentiment using die cuts. The hello is from the Pinkfresh Studio Classic Words die set. I just die cut the hello without the backing shadow layer, and I die cut the word twice, once out of regular white cardstock and once out of a gold cardstock. And then I decided that I did want to add a little bit more detail to the images that I colored, so I'm going to put them back in the Misty, and I never moved my stamp, and I'm going to use the Delicata Champagne ink to add just a little bit of shine to the outline of the images. And it doesn't translate very strongly on camera, but the Delicata ink does add just a little bit extra to the images that I really enjoy. And then once that's done, we'll put the Misty away again, and we will start working on the rest of our die cut sentiment. And for the word fall, we're going to be using a mix of letters from Leah's ornate alphabet set and Heather's lowercase alphabet set from also from Pinkfresh Studio. And I would like to take this moment to say that this video is in no way sponsored by Pinkfresh Studio. I was kind of going through my stash and grabbing things that I thought would work well together for the idea in my head. And it just so happened that I could pull almost everything I needed from one company, which usually helps things kind of mesh together easier. And I did use the wood grain specialty paper from Tonic Studios in order to die cut the word fall. I used the leafy circle die to die cut, well, leafy circles out of a more yellow toned gold cardstock, and I kind of placed the bits of those around the panel. And I did use the coordinating die for that Indigo Vine stamp set to die cut the images that we ink blended. And as I kind of place a combination of the ink blended images and the leafy circle dies all around the card panel, I kind of just fiddle around with things just to see where I kind of like them. And as I add more and more to the card panel, I start to worry that maybe I am adding or have added too much to this card. And then, like most things in my life, it's pretty much, well, I've come this far, so I might as well keep on going. So I just kind of fiddle some more until I look at the end result and realize, yes, I have definitely added too much to this card. So I kind of need to figure out how to rebalance things out. So I'm going to add more things to the card, but this time I'm going to add some little Pinkfresh Studio jewels to the card, kind of just to scatter around so that your eye doesn't kind of sit on the different clusters so heavily. And I have seen many a creator use a colored pencil to pick up little jewels or little embellishments like this. And I feel like there is a trick somewhere that I missed because I am not good at using a colored pencil to pick up little gems. And I fought with it and tried to make it work. And this is sped up and there's things cut out. So you didn't see exactly how much of a struggle I was having, but the struggle was definitely real. And so as I continued to struggle, I realized I really wanted to bring in a different color of gem as well, but I didn't want to continue struggling quite so vigorously, and I was worried that I would destroy this colored pencil. So somewhere in my brain I remembered that when I bought a silhouette, they gave me a tool to help pick up little bits of things. So I went rummaging until I found it, and it is so much easier. And I have kept it in a little cup on my desk where most of my heavily used pens and markers are. So I won't have to fight with a colored pencil and potentially destroy other art supplies again. Well, at least not in this particular fashion. And if you have made it this far with me and all of my struggles, thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. And I will leave you with a few more pictures of the finished card. Thank you.